And we just kept talking about the cycle and kept talking about how we were going to be in this crypto summer and that we were going to, drift toward fair value. We had Tim on and we talked about fair value, and people finally got a sense of the Metcalfe's Law model. And here we are at 43, 44, right below the fair value of 51. We're still not to the halving, so we still got time to get there in that slow drift. But the fireworks are about to start, and so I'm going to give us a little pat on the back for that one.
I think so too. All right, let's transition into.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to say. So I'm in San Francisco with my son and daughter-in-law, and just a shout out to, again, gratitude for all the people that share their coffee with us on Saturday morning. I'm walking through Japantown in this mall. My son's buying some manga, and I'm walking with my wife, and this guy stops and says, "Are you Mark?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh my God, I watch every week." My wife's like, "What is going on?" It's so
That's
cool.
Amazing.
And it's like an ego thing. I just love the fact there are people who share their time with us, because that is a gift, and that really engage in the conversation. UK was the global superpower.
Yeah.
Europe, with the UK as kind of the point of the spear, Europe was still strong, but the UK was the superpower. The sun never set on the British Empire. They were colonial all over the world. They owned everything everywhere. And people forget that it took 31 years from 1913 to 1944 for the dollar to replace the pound sterling as the world reserve currency. 31 years, which again isn't thousands of years, but it's still a long time. And then it's only since 1944 really that we've been the global superpower in America. And on average, right, that if you go back, we've talked about this many times, it's about a 70 to 80 year run these days. It's not 1,000 years like the good old days of empires lasting. But every empire in the history of empires has fallen. Every single one. There are no exceptions. This won't be the exception either, because it's because humans are going to human. Humans are going to go toward greed and the tippy topness of what's the word I'm searching for? I don't want to predict Weimar, but man, this is really scary when you think about your prediction right there and what it means for this ossification of the haves and the have-nots. So, right, we have the greatest wealth and income inequality in the history of our republic. It's pretty impressive. And when you start bailing out the people at the top and handing them money through like this, like if a bank can borrow from one side of the house and lend to the other side of the same house and make a spread, that's a riskless transaction. That's literally a government handout. And when they vote to give money to other governments and then it comes back to the defense companies that they own pieces of, or when this one crazy, when Ms. Pelosi, like while she's in session on a bill that has to do with semiconductors, her husband is trading NVIDIA options like in real time. That corruption will lead to what? It will lead to a need for your other prediction, which is you got to give people money to afford stuff. I still think they're going to give at least a couple day head start, maybe. But maybe they do them all. I don't know. But on January 8th, that is the day, the king's birthday, my little guy's birthday, my 12-year-old turns 13. So that's they're going to prove the ETF, and tens of billions of dollars are going to flow into it in that first week or so. And then ultimately hundreds, plural, of billions. That could, I can't even put a number on what that could do, because we only trade $8 billion a day, and there's a whole bunch of people who've said they're not selling. I can't think of an asset. I really can't think of an asset where you had both a supply shock and a demand shock at the same time. I mean, I really can't. Other than oil, maybe in the 70s, maybe.
Yeah. So if I had to pressure you for a price, these are the things that are always the toughest. A price prediction for
I know.
Bitcoin 2024. Where do you think we end up?
I look, I think 150 is in the bag, and I'm just going to stick with that. I think we're going to 150, and I think there could be a positive above that.
Crypto Twitter doesn't own Bitcoin; they own altcoins, and this has been here is the dynamic that I think people miss when they're talking about this, which is that you actually have people are always looking for the next thing. How many times, Mark, have you tried to get someone to buy Bitcoin and they said, well, it's already gone up too much, and then they immediately start looking for the next thing?
Absolutely.
That is a powerful psychological thing that people miss. And I actually think one of my predictions for this year was that I don't know if we're going to get an ETH ETF, but it's going to become a narrative, and ETH is going to do very well based on that. Right now, Ethereum is very beaten up as an asset. I think one of the things that confuses people about it is that there's roll-ups, and so they don't know what to buy anymore. Do I buy Optimism or Arbitrum, or do I buy Ethereum? And that's caused it to lag. There's no crypto native bid for it. But I do think as soon as the Bitcoin ETF goes live, and I think it will surprise to the upside eventually, even if not immediately, then I think people will start asking what's next. And well, hey, there's this new, more tech sort of play, which is called Ethereum. And you get something called yield. And look at what the Bitcoin ETF just did. And that's what the ETH ETF will do. And I think that's going to start to be a much bigger narrative.
Yeah, well, no, it's a really important point, because I think what's getting lost, then you get down to the traders who are, I just need movement. And that's a little bit what's happened in Solana. I mean, maybe there's some people that really believe in it, but there's definitely some trading going on there. Then you got the speculators who are, give me the new stuff. Give me that new, dog token or, fish token or whatever. Well, the problem is when you get to the degenerate gamblers, right? Who are using house money, borrowed money, and they're speculating in stuff that they don't really care about, nor do they don't want to know about the tech. All they want is number go up and get rich, get me rich. And that's been going on forever. And I love your analogy of a commodity boom. And it's funny because I'm in San Francisco. So I wrote Digital Gold Rush when I was in San Francisco, actually in Eureka, California, believe it or not, not truly had my Eureka moment in Eureka, California. But I came out here in 2017 with my family, and we were driving up through the Redwood Forest, and it hit me that this was exactly the digital gold rush. Yeah. And I went back and I did all the history of Sam Brannan, who was the first millionaire, and he had the general store and Yerba Buena and all this stuff.